you're just gonna have to do with this, okay? Because then I could like not have to frame myself so tight to the motherfucker. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What if oh, I don't know. I have another disclaimer for you. Disclaimer number 2. I feel like shit. Let me be honest. This sickness is really fucking me up. It's been over a week. Oh, can't wait to get better. Anyway, you know what I thought would be kind of cool to talk about? The circle. The circle. What's the circle? The circle is a circle of understanding based on principles that I've created in my own life, and I'm trying to use those principles to create an understanding throughout the book that turns into either philosophy or some sort of theological understanding to which the reader can interpret to create a better way of life or a better way of thinking. I'm using this tool to help stimulate the mind in the understanding of obtaining knowledge that we consider from God, or knowledge from another realm, or knowledge like, you know, you read something, you're like, this feels right to me. You know, or people talk about fucking dimensional things, or people talk about beings from another another dimension, or whatever the fuck it is anymore. I'm gonna try to show you a way in which I've been gathering this. Now, this is kind of something that will go hand in hand with the understanding of the book, but at the same time, I do want to say that magic, the magic system that I'll be using throughout the books is based around more than, wow, you know, and then like a fire happened over there because he pulled the mana from, you know, or none of that shit. I'm using real life magic, or at least my understanding of it. And real life magic comes from evocation. Real life magic comes from the voice, I think. This is all speculation. I'm not I do want another disclaimer, so what is that, 4? I am not any sort of professional in anything, and I am not trying to convince anyone of anything. This is just me talking to a camera as much as I talk to myself. You're just getting to listen on for the ride or whatever. So, here's what I was thinking. My video called An Honest Struggle. I suggest you stop fucking here and you go back and you listen to it. It's the one that has the picture of the guy standing before the mountain, you know, the big valley of fog, and there's the ruins in the distance. That, the entire fucking video, listen to every single word, then come back here. That is crucial, because that right there is the evocation. What does that mean? When I did that video, I did not sit down and I did not have a script. I didn't like fucking, you know, a few hours before I kind of sat down and thought like, okay, what should I talk about? Or, you know, I swear to, I mean, people that know me know if I swear to God means I'm not lying, because I don't know how to swear to God. I can't do it. So you can call me out on anything if you ask me to swear to God. I'll be like, damn it. I swear to God, I sat down, turned everything off, and just go. Okay? The reasoning I want to disclaimer that is because that's how you access. So, we don't study, we don't think, we don't gather, we go. When it comes to reaching magic. I gotta stand in a better spot, man. I just don't have a good camera stand. So, probably seeing this here, this will come in handy. We're gonna get to that. I have this too. I want to show you exactly how to access some of the power here, if you want to call it that. But it must be understood. This is personal theories that I'm trying to invoke to either, in my mind, I'm like, dude, I want to solve these huge problems that humans have and stuff. And, you know, I'm very stupid. So I'm going about it my own way. Now, the circle and the connection to the honest struggle. Now, my thinking is, when I was talking in that video, I mentioned the fact that I was kind of, I felt like I lived this adventure already. I've done all these things. And I got to this point in my life where I have to leap into the next chapter, if you want to call it, the next chapter of my life. But I feel like I'm perpetually going in this circle. I feel like I'm just stuck in this mindset where I don't know when the next venture begins. I don't know what I have to do. I mentioned in that video that there's everybody, including myself, has something they must do for themselves, for God, and then for me. Well, I was venting the idea that I don't know what my purpose is. I know I have to do something, but I don't know what that purpose is. And that is getting stuck in this circle. The circle is of fractal nature. So it was kind of, I'm not going to sit here and draw all day. But the idea is you get tiny dots and they get bigger, 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 smaller, 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 bigger, 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 right? Infinity. It's the idea of looping in infinity. Now, aboard this ride, this sort of holding place, is where evolution can begin of idea and thought. Because from this point, we have the true center. The true center I'm deeming right now the eye of God. I mean, I tried drawing an eye there. Hopefully you can tell that's what that is. Now, the eye of God is kind of a representation of God knowledge. Of the watchful eye of God, of whatever else you want to describe it as, you know, the Lord watching over you, blah, blah, blah. The world of, our known world is in the eye of the Creator. All these analogies help understand that this is God. Now, from God, as it spins, it throws out what I'm kind of considering now just like knowledge or understanding or any kind of basic principles of how things happen to work. Everything works as it should, the way it should, how it should, when it should, why it should. That comes from God. That right there is the factory of creation. Now, right here, this dotted line, I'm just calling it right now the Great Schism, and I don't really know exactly why, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. We're going to leave it at that. But for whatever reason, outside of this, and I can't tell you if this is a dimensional understanding or a physical kind of transcendence. It can be all and above. This could be transcendental, this could be physical, this could be spiritual, mental, sexual. There's some sort of barrier, and from that barrier of this schism here, we're going to kind of think of it as God's knowledge being unobtainable. Certain things can seep through, but they kind of go through this filter. God, around him is the filter, and from that filter is this giant mass of space. Is it empty space? Is it blackness? Is it void? We're not quite there yet in the understanding of it. Read the books and you'll fucking find out, honestly. Now, I made some notes here. This kind of came to me at work. Transcendence, or breaking through the barrier until we find ourselves on the infinite loop of understanding. That's what this is. The infinite loop of understanding. Circling and circling to find purpose, then we can break free. So I feel like I'm just circling. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm just circling and circling and circling. And not necessarily in your daily life. I mean, you kind of are. You go to the same job. You're going to go to the same store to buy your fucking groceries. You're going to come to the same house, unless you move. And then you're going to go and do the same shit. Well, I like to go to sports games. I do the same thing. I like to fucking go off and have sex with prostitutes. You know, whatever you do, I don't know. You're doing the same stuff. You're in the circle physically, but you're also there mentally. The same thought patterns, the same victimization of self, the same fuck that guy, fuck that chick, the same I'm tired of my coworker. You know, whatever it is that you constantly live inside, well, that's the understanding here. The circle of understanding. And then you're attempting to break free. It's so crazy. This is fever-induced. I don't feel very good. But god damn it. To interpret life from our own definition. So, inside of this here, we obtain the knowledge of this earthly realm through whatever understanding that we have of our own minds. Whether that's because of we're in a class system and certain people are taught more than others, that has a major influence on it as well. That's how someone like me can have thoughts that are higher than one would think I could, because I was raised in a poor society. I was thrown into special ed and no one gave a fuck about me. So my knowledge base is a lot lower. You know what I mean? Like in school, they would expect me to know things that I've never heard of. And they're like, well, everyone in this grade has heard of that. I'm like, well, not me. I don't know what you're talking about. Like MLA formatting or citing or how to do research. Like, we weren't taught that. So I'm on a lower spectrum, if you will, because of that in the material world. Some people grow up and they do well in school. They follow orders well, and so they pay attention, and then now all of a sudden they're in this tier and they understand higher philosophy as a base knowledge. So, we understand how we define the world. There should be nothing wrong with that. There are some merits to us gathering together and saying, okay, here's philosophy from point A to point B. Here's where we can trace it from the humanism before Francis Bacon. Here's where we can trace it to now where modern philosophy sits. And, you know, we've transcended the idea, a very scientific approach. We can do that with religion. We can do that with science in general, of any sort of field inside of science, like the understanding of physics, you know. And that's a great in-kind idea. But there are some people that lie in the periphery of this. So what they have to do is they have to explore things in their own language, in their own way, in their own time. I found myself exploring this on my own time. Remember how I said I was skirting past the bubble of society? Well, even though I was within this as an understanding, when it comes to the physical realm, which we can break from, which is right here, manifestation, unmanifestation, we're gonna get there. I can skirt around this on the multiple planes that it exists on. So the sphere here, remember, God in the center, a dividing line between God and man, which is the dotted line, and here's where we live on in the circle. This one can be anything. I was using it as mental understanding. This could be physical when it comes to the idea of mankind living materially in the world under God. You know, you can live this circle as well, because man, I don't even know how I would like show you this. Let's just get in tight. How that circle can be obtained is thusly, okay? Now, right here, that's the mini version of the circle. The subconscious and the conscious life. Right here, okay? It's divided in half by manifestation and the unmanifested. Okay, I just spelled it differently. Okay, that's what that is right there. So there's a divide between that. The manifested is the world that we live in, the things that are have been created and are all around us at all times. I'm holding a piece of paper. I'm talking with clothes on. I got my glasses, you know. Unmanifested are the things that we have not accessed yet. So in that idea, those are the creation, the things. Someone's going to invent, I don't know, a new type of engine. Someone's going to invent a new type of way to wear glasses, or whatever the fuck it is. It's unmanifested. It's not like it doesn't exist. It's just not here yet. That also can be explained with like how your mind works. You didn't think about what I'm talking about now, but yesterday, but you are now. It was unmanifested. Now it's becoming manifest, right? You're bringing it into creation. You're absorbing the knowledge from here and bringing it into creation, okay? Now, through that, we've already talked about this before, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. Remember, the machines that guide our daily life are the past and the future, and they are the engines. They are the pulley system, and the chains of time are wrapped all around this. This is just to purely understand the physical world. Well, from that point, through the blend, we go into the mind, and through the mind we have what I'm kind of considering the basis of how exactly thoughts can manifest from like a non-physical place. We can have access to the dream realm, or you could call it the astral realm, or the places that you go in your dream. Deep subconscious, however you say that. Things that are deep within your mind. Now, we share that collectively with all, but let's not focus on that. Let's talk about what's there. You can dream up things. You can create songs in your head. You can create stories or fucking video games or art or whatever it is. A new thing for an engine. Like, I watched a video where they're like talking about the differential. They're like, in the vehicle, they're like, man, like, we need the wheels to spin at different speeds. How do we do that? Someone dreamed up the idea of the fucking differential for a group of people. Now, that has this kind of Venn diagram so far, understanding of reality and that dream world. Their cross section is God frequency. Their cross section is here. So it's something that can take us from this circle, whether this is material, on the physical world, or this is within our minds, on the dream world, if you want to think of it like that, or spiritual world. You can break free from that and access this idea here, beyond the blackness of nothingness. From that point, you can access this God knowledge that's always out there. Well, the idea was, when it comes to our understanding of our own personal language, we create pillars of understanding through our own minds. I look at something and I define it the way I define it as, to help give purpose to me. That very same purpose might not exist for someone else. You look at someone who's kind of in a lower frequency setting and they're like victimizing themselves. Well, in their mind, it's liberating them. In their mind, they're not inviting in bad people to take advantage of them all the time. It's everyone's bad, right? That's just something you're not going to grasp, but that definition to them saves an idea within their own minds. They are who they think they are because they're always in control of that. We look at objects around us with our subjectivity and we define it as we see fit. Do you know what I mean? I could watch a video and you could watch that same video, but what do we pull from that? We can have unified thought like, wow, that character did this, this, and that. But when it comes to some deeper elements of it, I may pull from it something that you haven't pulled from it. I may see something that you yourself are like, wow, I didn't even notice that. Or listen to a song. Did you notice that fucking little guitar melody in the background? It was like over here, you could barely hear it. I didn't even notice that. Now I do. That right there is our own, it's based around, at least those concepts I described, our own definition of how we see the world based on how it affects us. I don't know how much more I keep going, so I'm going to try to get this out. I don't feel very well, man. Now, those words are the way out. Here's the life you live in. Here's that rut I was talking about. Here's the, I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. Like, I can't do this. I can't do that. Or my rigid thinking, like, this is what race theory is. Because, you know, nowadays people are. This is what good is. This is what bad is. And this is what my friendships are. This is what, like, all that shit that exists in your fucking mind and mine and everyone else's is in this circle. Now, to carve a way out, you must cling to ethereal truths and cosmic knowledge. Outside of that, there are floating amidst this blackness here. To access that is the bits of knowledge. Remember how everything from God comes to where it needs to go? The elliptical nature of the sun and the moon and the fucking solar system, the way grass grows at a certain time, how trees know when to go dormant, how you know to keep breathing in and out, how you know to fucking, I don't know, not run into someone because objects are hard, you know. That shit's God knowledge that's passed down into its proper places. It works in a system, one that I haven't discovered yet. But you yourself can tread through the darkness here, and that's where the cosmic knowledge lies. But you gotta have your own basis of understanding to be able to at least grasp at some of it. Now, of course, it's based on the higher your dimensional understanding, the more you can grasp. If you walk into a room knowing that you gotta take the things out of that room, you're gonna take more with you. If you walk in there and you didn't know you were supposed to, you're gonna take a lot less. Though you may find more meaning when you find a lot less because you come upon it in your own time. This place here is an accessing place that we all can achieve. Now, what was the next thing? They help us become whole, so it helps us find understanding. Like, you look at a situation and you say, wow, God is in that. Or, wow, like, that was a meant thing, or that was very meaningful. You're pulling from this on an emotional level, which is another level you can access. And to pull forth that, you say these words. And what I'm trying to explain to you is right now, this, what I'm speaking, this is all stream of consciousness. I have no idea what's coming next, and I don't know what the fuck's going on right now. But I'm going to roll with it. To disclaimer, I don't know what I'm talking about. But it sounds, right? It probably sounds about like that, but it's because I'm pulling forth this shit and fucking, like, it's everywhere, and I'm just like frantically pulling it forth just to give you some shit. So keep that in mind, and that's what I'm doing right here. It's a sort of incantation. It's magic. You're pulling something from, we go back to this, the unmanifested into the manifested. I'm bringing it into this consciousness of life. This accessing point is only through this frequency here. From this point, we can eventually enter this circle, which that circle is the higher circle of this circle. It's like it sits up here off the screen. Bear in mind that all this stuff is experimental, what I'm talking about. I'm trying to do this as best I can, but there's still a hell of a lot I don't know yet. But I do want to say that this all will be explored in the book slowly until I die, you know, or like whenever I stop writing the stories. So I'm gonna try my best to bring this forth into our reality so we can use it as a tool. Now, there's so many different levels. Like, so the idea is, what I was exploring was the subjectivity discovered in the words invoked by the hidden spirits of emotion. The hidden spirits lie in here, or the hidden pieces of knowledge, or the hidden thoughts, dreams, actions, whatever God pushes out, they're hidden within here, and you can access them. So that's why we can access, some would say, spirits, and, you know, certain states that you may be in, these spirits you can invite in. Exactly. You are on this plane. You did venture in here. When you explore true grief and true sorrow, and you let that overwhelm you and take you fully, you can kind of tread outside of this circle. I'm going to ruin it, so we're never going to use it again. But as if you're going on the trail, but you kind of go off and off, off and off. And as you go out, look what you're inviting. Key points. These could be action points or like portal events. I don't fucking know yet. We haven't come up with terminology. But you can also get lost inside of here, and you can stay lost inside of that. You can lose your mind to it. We don't what do I say we? I don't really know what lies outside of this yet. That right there explores the idea of the darkness. I don't know if you remember this little drawing here. There's the realm of understanding as used as a representation of the world I created called Yuandra, and everything that lies inside it on the back of Mother. Well, the darkness is outside of it. This right here is the portal, the doorway, only accessed through the astral streams. This darkness outside of here could very well be the same darkness outside of this circle here. Remember, everything's fractal. Whatever is happening in this circle, it's happening in this realm, it's happening on this fucking circle that I drew here. It's happening in our emotional level, our physical level, our spiritual level, or any other fucking level you can come up with. It's everything. It's all within one object. We're gonna say this one here, at least right now, where we sit in this world, you know? Okay, so the whole purpose, was there an ending statement there? So yeah, we confine these in spiritual terms when it comes to our spirituality or our emotional level. We can find them in here, kind of like beacons. Okay, they could be beacons of light. Spiritual places, places where spirits might inhabit. Because these beacons of light are so bright, you enter through here, you might have your own light, and you might invite the spirit. Or you might invite the knowledge, some sort of like sacred truth of how you can adapt it to the way an engine works. I mean, just think of the engine of itself. They pulled that shit from another, man. Like, it's a physical thing here, but the way that it all works is almost like a human body. It's nuts. So that could be how that you can access these things here, and they become whole in us, and eventually they can take us over fully and live within us, or they can come and go. It's like you can release this thing, I'm thinking, or you can hold on to it for your life. Though we have a subjective lens, one that can be used by these beings. These beings can attach to us, and within us and around us, they can use our subjective way we live. I'm looking at this camera right now. You're not looking at the camera, you're looking at the screen that's looking through the camera at me. We're not looking at the same thing. We have subjectivity. If you're standing here next to me, you'd be able to see the same thing I'm seeing, but you don't. It's because of that we have subjectivity, right? Look out your window. Do you see Michigan? I do. Do you see the same Michigan? Kevin does. He lives right over there. That's besides the point. But you can't see what I'm seeing here in my room right now too. Kevin can't see that. Gotcha. I'm looking over here. So it's subjectivity, right? Elementary. Well, we have that, and this is how we can access things, and these beings can use us, whether they're beings of spirituality or physical nature or mental. And that's how that all works, I'm thinking. I'm going to kind of take a break from this. I can come back to this again, but I'm going to be dead honest with you, man. Stop it. Quit. I don't feel hot. This is too much for me. You bitch. So yeah. Here's a disclaimer for you. That's not a disclaimer. Look who I have. Oh. Oh. Father. There. That's for you. That's the little fifth. Did you get that cat that you said in the video you weren't? No, I didn't actually. I got two different ones. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll come back to this. We'll reapproach it when I feel. This is hard, man. I haven't been sick this long, and it's like that kind of sickness that well, not really. I'm still draining fluid. Going to my stomach. It's making my stomach really upset. I feel like I'm going to throw up all the time. But my head feels like it's in a fucking cloud. And it's distorting me a bit. And I just feel like totally not myself. I feel fucking weird. But I'm not coughing as bad and sneezing as much. So that's cool. Anyway, if there's any questions to this, because, I'm more than happy to try to go through it more with you. I just need you to bear in mind. Seriously? I just need you to bear in mind that the way this stream of consciousness stuff works, sometimes I can just kind of like at will, but it's not always that case to access this shit inside of here. What I'm thinking is, if my theories are correct, what I just puked out here is knowledge inside of the circle. Now, one last thing. This does play a crucial fucking role in the story to come. There's only flecks and just barely glimmers. You have the prism, and like it shines like certain color of light from your window, from the sun coming in. Well, these prisms, whatever side they are, if they're colored, they'll say this only shows a little red circle on the wall. Then this side shows a little yellow one. It's like that. It's just, you can only pull forth only like some sort of small understanding of it. And I'll be honest, at times when I start thinking about it too much, like I am right now, it starts to just disappear. So, I know what I'm talking about. In the book, it's like that prism. It's just small little glimmers of it. I'm not going into too much detail. You could probably spot a few when you read. You'll probably like, the scene of Freydin, and the horns sounding. What is that chapter called? The Countdown Begins or something, when the parade's happening. Refuge is a big one too. In Alleran, Checkpoint Alleran used to be called. I don't know if it's still called that anymore. And in Crossroads, big one. But we're gonna get to that in the book. I will try to finish this writing. I want you to keep this in mind, because this is definitely going to be explored a hell of a lot more. I was talking to someone recently about the way the Forgotten King works and how his emotions and stuff work. This is all crucial. This is all crucial. The guy that knows what I'm talking about when it comes to Forgotten King and his emotions, fractal stuff, fractal. It's fucking here. It's all the same fucking thing. It's all connected. Even if we're splintered apart into what we identify as separate beings. No, we're not, man. We're on the fractal fucking plane. That fractal plane just means this is happening at every level. But it is all connected.